B fam, I'm Bianca Renee.
And I'm Royce.
And today we're going to talk about being first-time parents during a global pandemic.
Yes.
Pros, cons, what to expect, and how we've had to adjust.
Now, we knew we were having a baby, so we were already in the mindset of preparing for all the trials and things that come with that. But we did not prepare for a global pandemic. That was not in the plan. That wasn't in the call sheet. Was that in the call sheet?
It was not in the call sheet.
Okay. Yeah.
Remember when it was only going to be 15 days? Here we
I remember
are,
those days.
March, April, May, June, July. Yeah, 5 months later, stuck in
Literally.
the house with an infant. And in the beginning, we were trying to do the new parent thing by limiting visitation, making sure people got their shots if they wanted
Couldn't
to hold
come
the baby.
near the baby if you didn't have your shot.
We were trying to be very cautious. We got all this hand sanitizer before it was trending.
So that kind of worked out.
That worked out in our favor. You know, making people wash their hands and sanitize was something we already had in play in 2020. Then, right when maybe like the 2-month mark hit, which is like the time they say you should try to kind of keep your visitors limited, when people could come, is when we got locked down. It was the day of my 6-week postpartum appointment, actually, and that was the first day I had to leave the house with a mask on before masks even were a thing.
That's right.
And I was getting looked at like I was weird.
Right.
I was like, I'm going home to a newborn. I don't know if this is gonna work or not, but I'm wearing it, and now we know how important they are.
That was terrifying, honestly, because like we were saying, like we're already like super protective of our baby. We hear this pandemic, this virus is happening. Now you're like, oh, okay, well, clearly I don't want to get my baby the virus because I don't know how susceptible they are. And like this was before reports really coming out.
We were worried about colds.
Right, exactly.
Common
whooping
colds,
cough,
whooping cough.
All that stuff. We did not have this in our mind at all. So I just remember going through that first doctor's appointment, literally just terrified. I did not want to get next to anybody. I didn't even want anybody to talk to me.
We actually called our doctor and asked if he should still come in because everything was locked down, but he still wanted to see his patients. And I'm glad, so that way Jalen can still get all his shots and everything and make sure he's good and growing well and weigh him and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So the only places that we've really gone have been to Jalen's doctor's appointments, the pediatrician. So now there's a little adjustment there with Jalen being in the car. Maybe a hand like 5 times since he's been born. So it's going to be interesting to see all the developmental changes from our quarantine kids, from the limitations of seeing a lot of people, from getting in the car, just normal outdoor activities that he's not able to experience. So now let's talk about the pros and cons of raising a kid during quarantine. Pros: you kind of get that easy excuse of being able to avoid people. In the beginning, depending on how large your family is or how many friends you have, everybody wants to come over to see the baby, and you're gonna eventually run out of excuses. But now it's like, guys, we're locked down. I
really wish.
You just can't come over. It's just not safe.
But the virus.
The virus.
And then another one has been just adjusting to being parents. Since we can't do anything, literally all we can focus on is being a parent. We kind of get that grace as you would during maternity leave.
With zero distractions.
Literally zero
Nothing
distractions.
else is going on. There's no like filming happening that you have to leave to. There's no like events that I have to go to. So on the plus side for me, it's really helped my FOMO, fear of missing out.
She has it bad.
If, having a baby at home, I might eventually feel like I want to go out and do this or go to this event or whatever. But since nothing is happening and nothing's being planned, I've been totally fine being at home. And that's coming from an extrovert that does not like to sit still or stay home. A lot of people have been saying that they're really bored. I don't know about you, but I can honestly say that I have not been bored this entire quarantine. Jalen keeps us on our toes. He's very entertaining. He makes us laugh. We have to keep him busy all the time, so we don't really have time to be bored. Because any downtime we have, we're using it to film or edit or clean the house, so there's no time for boredom.
Unfortunately for us, we're quarantined with my family, so everybody's close. They can all see the baby because none of us are going anywhere. So the big thing is, like, my dad, he travels all the time. He's out of town maybe 3 or 4 days out of the week, and then when he is here, he's running off doing meetings and all that stuff. So he's always on the move. Now, because of this, literally for the first time in my life, I had never seen my dad this much ever in life because he's just always working. So now he finally just gets to just sit and chill. And it's been amazing just to see him be this grandfather to my son. And like, for me to see that, I'm like, is that how you were with me? Because I didn't know you expressed emotions. This is weird. But and, you know, both our parents and then your parents as well, like, what, 5 minutes away?
Yeah, they're 5 minutes away. We had a little hiccup in the beginning of quarantine because they kept trying to do their normal grocery runs. My dad is a sucker for a sale, and he will drive 10 miles to save like 3 cents on Gatorade. So I had to really try to hone in on my parents and my siblings to stay home, and like, you gotta go to Costco once, you stock up for the month, and you don't leave the house again. You can't just go out of the house just to get one ingredient like we normally do. Things are changing. So I literally had to make a chart. You guys might want to do this if you have kids as well. And I put...
I think he's awake. Okay. I guess we gotta bring him up.
Baby's awake!
Baby's awake. I'll get him.
Jinx!
Ah! Welp. It's just us now, everyone. Welcome to Royce and fam. Today, I'm Royce. Let's talk about me. Oh, who do we have? Who do we have? Hey! What up, man?
Welcome to the channel. Have we not brought him on the channel yet?
I don't know.
Since birth?
I think one video we did, he was in the Docketot sleeping.
So, like I was saying, I literally had to make a chart. My sister helped me make a huge poster board that said like 14 days to see Jalen, because this is when we were first told that after 14 days of quarantine, the virus wasn't gonna be there or you would be cured. So I wanted my parents to stay home for 14 days so they can come see the baby, because it really was starting to like hurt my feelings knowing that they're missing these like very early baby days. Like, we've all waited over 9 months. I mean, they waited years for us to have kids. So like, he's finally here and now they can't even hang out with them or hold him. So
horrible. That
was really, really hard for us, or at least for me in the beginning. So I print out a bunch of pictures of Jalen's cute little face. And every day that they stayed home, they got a little Jalen face sticker and they put the Jalen face on the board. And then after 14 days of staying home, they were able to come over and see the baby. Yay! So that's what I had to do to keep my family at home. I had to make a game of it, and it worked. And they've been quarantined, so now the only people we've been able to see are Royce's family that we are living with and my family. And that's really it. So for those of you that aren't living with your parents, or maybe you don't have family living close by, I definitely sympathize for you and know how hard that has to be to not be able to show your baby to your family and friends. It's something we've all been so excited for. They probably were at your baby shower, your gender reveal. Like, everyone has been waiting for this moment. I can't tell you how many people have bought clothing for Jalen, and he's already outgrown it because we haven't seen that.
Right.
So that's probably the worst part about this whole quarantine, is the separation and division of families and friends.
And I also wanted to point out too, in my last video where I gave my perspective as a father, going through the whole experience and kind of giving advice for all you new dads and dads to be out there. Obviously, when I made that video, I did not have Corona in mind. So I know there are a lot of things that are happening. I really feel for you guys who can't do things like going into ultrasounds with the mother, experiencing all those moments. I have heard that you guys you either FaceTime and all that stuff, which at least that part of it's really good. And from the dad's perspective, you definitely still want to be involved as much as possible. So by doing that, there's still some involvement. But I know it just really sucks that you can't physically be there in the room. So I just want to let you guys know that. But also, with that video in mind, it'll be a little bit harder, but do whatever you can, dads, to just still find a way to be involved. Don't use this time as an excuse to still not try and participate in these moments leading up to the birth or even when the baby is born.
Since we kind of slid into the cons already, and I think that's been the hardest part for me, is not being able to see any of my friends during this time. I think like maybe 3 people got in before all this shutdown, were able to hold Jalen, and now we're trying to figure out ways that they can see him before he's, 2 years old. So we're trying to get our friends to get tested and then quarantine, and then maybe they can come over in the backyard and like social distance and wear a mask. Like, comment below and let us know what you guys are doing to try to see other friends and family during this time and the safest way to do so. And I think the biggest question that we all have is, what are we really like waiting for to go back to hanging out with like friends and family? What's gonna be something that's gonna really make us feel safe to have our babies around other people? Because at this rate, today they announced our state, California, has the most cases of COVID. Are you tired? Am I boring you?
Yeah, I know, sleepy. Just a little sleepy.
Like, that's the scariest part about COVID. It's such an unknown thing that it's not, you can't regulate it. You might have it and not even know it. Like, it's just crazy. So this is just not what we expected as first-time parents, to have our beautiful boy and then lock him in the house for no one to see.
I mean, we tried going on walks. We definitely want to get back into that. When this first started, we were going on walks like crazy, and we actually got to use a stroller. Woohoo!
Yeah.
Right.
So he can know what outside looks like.
Right. Exactly. But then that slowly just fell off.
And that's another thing, is all the things that we haven't been able to use because we've been stuck in the house. We haven't had to use our Graco because we're not going anywhere. We had like 2 or 3 diaper bags. I use it occasionally to go to my mom's, but that's really it.
And I don't know why I get so excited packing the diaper bag. Probably because in my mind, like, I just pictured like, that dad vision of like, all right, I got the bag. What else we need to carry? I got it all. And then I can't carry anything. Yeah. So.
I've also stopped pumping as much as I used to. In the very beginning, I was becoming engorged, so I started pumping because my boobs were just gonna explode. But then that eventually kind of slowed down, and then since I didn't have to go anywhere, I could just whip it out and feed him. So I did stop pumping, and now I'm kind of running out of my stash that I've been sharing with Royce to be able to feed him when, I can't. So some advice that some of you wrote me, it said, is to keep pumping and to continue to bottle feed so your baby can get used to the bottle. Since you're not going anywhere, you might have completely stopped doing the bottle, so now they might reject it. Fortunately, this little guy has never rejected food ever, so he is cool with both breastfeeding and the bottle. But something to keep in mind is to keep up your normal routine so that your baby can get used to both things. So hopefully one day when we go to the outside world, they'll be able to adjust.
So even though in the beginning when this all was happening, we weren't really working too much, so it did allow us just to focus on Jalen 100%. But since we both work from home, eventually work started coming in and we had to kind of start getting into a groove. So one thing we had to learn was some time management and how to best handle that. We had to figure out, okay, what times can we actually do stuff where I can edit, where she could shoot her videos and then edit, where he can be entertained and not be neglected. So it took a little bit, but I think we got into a little bit of rhythm. We kind of threw away the whole concept of when he sleeps, we sleep. And we were like, we can't do that.
There's no time. Quarantine, no one knows what day it is or what time it is. We go to bed at 3 a.m.
Exactly.
Jalen gets up at 6. So our schedules are just all over the place.
I've never stayed up till 3 in the morning consecutively as much as I had during this time. And then now struggling to get up at 5, 6 in the morning, which that used to be easy for me. Now my body's just all messed up. Or say, for instance, your child is hungry in the middle of you shooting a video. You make it work.
Time management. I do have to say, props to those of you that have older kids or toddlers or kids that can actually crawl and walk and have an opinion and really get bored, and you're stuck in the house with them and you're probably really appreciating teachers, school, and missing your babysitters. So I think it has been kind of nice that he can't really do much, so he's easier to please. But if you have any other tips for parents that have older kids, if you're doing arts and crafts, or what have you been doing to keep your kids busy, leave all that advice in the comments below to help someone else.
So that's our experience of being new parents during this pandemic. For everybody out there, definitely leave in the comments how you guys have been handling everything. And if you have any tips on how to better handle this as parents during this pandemic, please leave those as well. And we got a lot more videos planned for you guys, so please subscribe to our channel if you haven't. Give this video a thumbs up. You can follow us on Instagram at RNBFam.
Happy quarantine.
Yay.
Don't let your kids drive you crazy.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
See you next time.